Republican Congressman Mike Waltz of Florida joins me now for more on this. Congressman, thanks for being here. I know your colleague, Senator Lindsey Graham, has essentially said that nothing should happen, no legalization for Dreamers or anyone else until the border crisis is resolved. Now, yesterday, Congresswoman Maria Salazar was on our show talking about her own immigration proposal, which includes enhancing border security and the E-Verify system, but also giving legal status to Dreamers and offering a pathway to legalization for those who've been here for years, obeying the law and paying taxes. What do you think of that plan?
Well, I certainly think a deal can be had, and we need to come to some type of resolution of this. What is absolutely a crisis on the border. I mean, if you look at the fact that Doctors Without Borders says 30 to 40% of young girls that make that transit from the Central American states to the United States border are assaulted or abused in some way. That is absolutely horrific. But I think we also have to look at the policy changes that the Biden administration has just recently put in place, where they've lowered border security. They've sent a signal that the border is open. Those applying for asylum now can be released into the United States interior. I think they've essentially sent a signal across Central America, make that dangerous journey. And you could find your way into the United States illegally with a catch and release system. I think that's incredibly irresponsible.
Now, President Biden and other members of the administration have clearly said, do not come across the border, at least right now. But that's clearly not enough. So what is it that you think the Biden administration does need to do right now? And what do you say to people like that dreamer that we just heard from, who feel like they're here, they're obeying the law, they're doing their work, they're paying their taxes, and they feel like their futures are being held hostage?
Yeah, sure. So I think the first thing, I mean, this deal was on the table years ago under the Trump administration, where we have to have border security first. It does have to be sequential. If we don't have border security, then even if, which I wouldn't support, even if you gave amnesty to everybody that was here today, you're just going to have the same problem just a few years from now with an insecure border. And I certainly feel for many of the Dreamers and DACA recipients, but we need to get that sequential deal in place before we can move forward.
So, Congressman, I do want to hit on other topics with you, but just quickly, do you plan to support either of these measures coming before the House now related to immigration? And would you support the Salazar plan if that was before you?
Well, what I like about the Salazar plan is she emphasizes border security. But unfortunately, that type of plan, which has been supported from then Senator Biden, Pelosi, and many others in the past, and frankly, they moved away from it for political reasons to oppose then President Trump. So I would support a more comprehensive approach. But what's before us now has nothing to do with border security. I think it's going to make the problem worse because it just sends the signal that if somehow, even though the journey is so dangerous, so many young girls are being assaulted, but if you somehow survive that journey, then you can find your way into the United States illegally. I think it sends all of the wrong signals. Not to mention, I talk to veterans who aren't getting the services they need, the strain on our schools, the strain on our infrastructure. And I've sponsored through a special immigrant visa, Afghans that fought with us in Iraq. Many immigrants who have waited in line, gone through the process, and now feel like they're being jumped in line by those coming across illegally. We have to secure the border, and then we can reform our immigration system.
All right. I want to ask you about COVID vaccinations. A recent poll found nearly half of Republican men would choose not to get vaccinated. And we know in Congress, only 75% of House members are currently vaccinated. You wrote on Twitter last night that you fully support and plan to get the vaccine. So can you tell us when you plan to be vaccinated and what you make of just the politics now intertwined in this issue?
Yeah. Well, politics shouldn't be. I've said and announced for folks to get vaccinated. President Trump has gone on national television and said the same. I think there are some fears on both sides of the aisle, regardless of politics. We need to help people overcome those fears. It is a miracle that we have not one, but 3 and approaching 4 vaccines in under a year. And Operation Warp Speed should be given all kinds of credit. It unleashed the amazing innovation of the American private sector. The record previously was 3 years. We have 3 now in under 1 year. For me personally, I have the antibodies. Unfortunately, I had COVID. And, in the Army, you learn that leaders eat last. I want my staff, some of which are in at-risk categories, to have it first. I want seniors in Florida. I fully support Governor DeSantis' senior first approach in Florida to have it first. And when those two things are in place, I'll be happy and proud to have the vaccine.
And I know you have a lot of focus on foreign policy. I know you fought for this country. You're also now part of a bipartisan coalition urging President Biden to make a comprehensive deal with Iran. Can you talk a little bit about that and what you think needs to be done there?
Well, I was pleased to have 70 Democrats join us in a call for the Biden administration, should it enter back into a deal, this time for it to be more comprehensive, tougher, and deeper. And what I mean by that is the previous JCPOA, the previous Iran deal under the Obama administration, only dealt with one discrete part of Iran's nuclear program, and it was only temporary. And the inspection regime was very weak. The inspectors had to give a whole lot of notice and couldn't go to any Iranian military sites. This time it needs to encompass terrorism. It needs to encompass ballistic missiles. It needs to address the fact that the Iranian regime is holding Americans hostage right now as we speak, and then have it be a permanent dismantling of the program, and then also have a much tougher inspection regime. Look, at the end of the day, why does this matter so much to Americans? If Iran gets a bomb, the rest of the Middle East, the Saudis, the Turks, and others will also get nuclear weapons. And the last thing we want for global stability is a nuclearized Middle East.
All right, Congressman Mike Waltz, we appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.